In the far reaches of the galaxy, where stars burned like embers and nebulae painted the void with vibrant hues, the planet Zorath stood as a beacon of power and mystery. Ruled by the enigmatic and fierce Princess Lyra, Zorath was a world of advanced technology, towering crystalline spires, and a society built on the principles of strength and honor. Lyra, the last of the royal bloodline, was known across the galaxy as a warrior without equal. Her name whispered in awe and fear. But Lyra carried a secret, one buried deep within her memories, locked away by the passage of time and the trauma of war. A secret that would soon resurface, threatening to unravel everything she thought she knew about herself and her past. The war between Zorath and the human colonies of Earth had raged for decades. What began as a territorial dispute had escalated into a full-scale conflict, with both sides suffering heavy losses. Lyra, as the commander of the Zorathian fleet, had led countless battles against the humans, her tactical brilliance and unmatched combat skills earning her the title of the Crimson Blade. But one human in particular had always eluded her. A mysterious fighter pilot known only as the Ghost had become her greatest adversary. His maneuvers were unpredictable, his strategies flawless, and his presence on the battlefield was both a curse and a challenge for Lyra. They had clashed countless times, their ships dancing in the void, each encounter ending in a stalemate. Lyra had vowed to destroy him, to finally claim victory over the one human who seemed to match her in skill. The final battle took place in the ruins of a dying star system. The Zorathian fleet had cornered the human forces, and Lyra's flagship, the Eclipse, led the charge. As the battle raged, Lyra's sensors detected a familiar signature, the Ghost's ship. Her heart raced as she ordered her crew to pursue him, determined to end their rivalry once and for all. Their ships engaged in a deadly dance, weaving through the wreckage of fallen vessels and the fiery debris of the collapsing star. Lyra's hands flew across the controls, her focus razor-sharp. But as she closed in for the kill, something strange happened. The Ghost ship suddenly powered down, drifting helplessly in the void. Lyra hesitated, her instincts screaming at her to finish him off, but something held her back. Against her better judgment, she ordered her crew to retrieve the ship and bring the pilot aboard. When the human was brought before her, his helmet removed, Lyra froze. His face was hauntingly familiar, though she couldn't place why. His piercing blue eyes seemed to stare into her very soul, stirring something deep within her. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice cold and commanding. The man smiled faintly, a hint of sadness in his eyes. "You don't remember me, do you, Lyra?" Her breath caught in her throat. How did he know her name? And why did his voice send a shiver down her spine? As the man spoke, fragments of memories began to surface, like shards of glass breaking through the surface of a frozen lake. He told her of a time before the war, when Zorath and Earth had been allies. He spoke of a young princess who had fallen in love with a human diplomat, a man named Kael. They had married in secret, their union a symbol of hope for peace between their peoples. But their happiness was short-lived. A coup on Zorath had overthrown Lyra's family, and she had been forced to flee. In the chaos, she had been captured by rebels who erased her memories, turning her into a weapon to be used against Earth. Kael had searched for her for years, eventually joining the human military in the hopes of finding her. When he discovered her leading the Zorathian fleet, he had taken on the identity of the Ghost, hoping to reach her, to make her remember. Lyra's mind reeled as the memories flooded back. The warmth of Kael's embrace, the sound of his laughter, the promises they had made to each other. It all came rushing back. Tears streamed down her face as she fell to her knees, the weight of her actions crashing down on her. How many lives had she taken? How much destruction had she caused? All while fighting against the man she loved. Kael knelt beside her, his hands gently cupping her face. It's not your fault, Lyra. You were manipulated just as both our peoples have been. The war, the hatred, it was all orchestrated by those who sought to divide us. Lyra looked into his eyes, seeing the love and pain that mirrored her own. What do we do now? She whispered. We end this, Kael said firmly. Together. With Kael's help, Lyra uncovered the truth behind the war. The coup on Zorath had been orchestrated by a faction of extremists who sought to exploit the planet's resources and maintain control through fear and conflict. They had manipulated both Zorath and Earth, ensuring that the war would continue indefinitely. Lyra and Kael united their forces, revealing the truth to their people. The revelation sparked outrage and rebellion, but it also brought hope. The Zorathian and human fleets joined together, turning their weapons against the true enemy. The final battle was fierce, but with Lyra and Kael fighting side by side, they emerged victorious. In the aftermath, Lyra and Kael worked to rebuild what had been lost. They forged a new alliance between Zorath and Earth, one built on trust and understanding. Lyra, now remembered as the Lost Princess, was crowned Queen of Zorath, with Kael by her side as her consort. As they stood together on the balcony of the royal palace, overlooking the glittering city below, Lyra felt a sense of peace she had never known. The scars of the past would always remain, but they were a reminder of what they had overcome. Kael took her hand, his touch warm and reassuring. We have a second chance, Lyra. A chance to build a future together. She smiled, leaning into him. A future where our peoples can thrive side by side. And as the twin suns of Zorath set, casting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Lyra knew that their love had not only saved them but had also brought light to a galaxy once shrouded in darkness.